Welcome back to the Kermode Uncut Film Club, the first Uncut Film Club of 2013. Now, we haven't done one of these for a while, so I'm very, very pleased to say that we're back with what I consider to be a terrifically strong title. As before, you can watch the introduction here on the Kermode Uncut site, or you can download it from Vimeo. Watch the introduction, watch the film, and then let me know what you think about Terry Gilliam's 12 Monkeys.
I just want to do my part to get us back on top, in charge of the planet.
There's a couple of reasons why I've chosen 12 Monkeys. Firstly, the other day I was interviewing Danny Boyle for The Culture Show about his new film Trance, and during the course of our conversation he mentioned how much he liked Looper. Well, I really liked Looper when it came out, and when I reviewed it I said, you know what I like about it is it's basically 12 Monkeys with more guns, and loads of people wrote in to say, is it? I've never seen 12 Monkeys, should I check it out? Well, as Looper comes out on DVD this week, this is a perfect time to go back and see the movie behind it, which is 12 Monkeys, just as behind 12 Monkeys is the extraordinary Chris Marker film La Jetée, a story of a death foretold, told in still photographs. Inspired by La Jetée and based on a script by Janet and David Peoples, the latter of whom was, of course, one of the Blade Runner writers. 12 Monkeys is a science fiction story starring Bruce Willis as a convict from the future sent back to the past, then our present, to track the source of a virus which has driven the human race underground. Gilliam said he loved the script because it was intelligent and engrossing, and it dealt with time, death and madness. Apparently, Gilliam originally wanted Jeff Bridges, with whom he'd worked on The Fisher King, to star in 12 Monkeys, but the studio wanted a more bankable name, which arrived in the shape of Bruce Willis. Ironically, Gilliam had first met Bruce Willis through Jeff Bridges, and Gilliam was finally convinced that Willis could do the role after watching Die Hard and being impressed with the tenderness and sensitivity shown in the scene in which Willis talks about his wife whilst picking broken glass out of the soles of his feet. Apparently, before filming began, Gilliam sat down with Willis and went through a checklist of recognisable tics and quirks which Willis was not allowed to perform in 12 Monkeys. Alongside him, there's a terrific performance by Madeleine Stowe, and also Brad Pitt, who went on to be Oscar nominated. At the time that Pitt was signed on, he wasn't a huge star. By the time the film opened, he was arguably the real pulling power. Now, for those of you familiar with Gilliam's fabulously unruly career, perhaps the most significant thing about 12 Monkeys is the fact that it's a science fiction film made for Universal, with whom Gilliam had fought over Brazil. In the case of 12 Monkeys, he agreed to keep the budget right down to 29 million, which was fairly small, considering the scope of production and the size of the stars involved, in return for Final Cut. As it turned out, he brought it in on budget and only 1 week over length for the shoot, which for Gilliam is really good going. By all accounts, it wasn't an easy shoot. There's a fabulous on-set documentary called The Hamster Factor, the name of which refers to Gilliam's obsession with detail. In one sequence, we have a naked Bruce Willis, a tiny figure in a huge science fiction screen, a scene which was shot over and over again. Why? Because in one corner of the frame, there is a hamster which is meant to be running round and round in a wheel. And as the producer said later, only Terry Gilliam would look at a frame with a naked Bruce Willis and worry about what the hamster was doing. And the problems didn't end with close of principal photography. After the editing was finished, they showed the film to a test audience who frankly hated it. Universal started to panic and insisted on changes, but Gilliam held fast, saying, no, the film is exactly as it should be. And it turned out he was right. It went on to make over $160 million worldwide, a resounding hit.
You think I'm crazy?
It's hard to explain exactly what's so great about 12 Monkeys, other than to say it's one of those films that the more you see it, the more you see in it. Cineasts will notice references to The Wizard of Oz, The Andromeda Strain, and of course, Hitchcock's Vertigo, which seems to have become the big daddy of almost all modern cinema. Frankly, I don't think Looper could have existed were it not for 12 Monkeys. Get Looper on DVD, but see 12 Monkeys to see where its ideas come from. Watch the film and then let me know what you think here at Kermode Uncut.